Antarctica is the coldest, driest, windiest continent, Dan told the others when he returned. It's the only continent without an indigenous human population. That means no humans ever lived there. Plus, all the countries got together in 1959 and made this treaty that there could be no military bases, only scientific ones. Dr. Jeff told me that scientists work on all kinds of cool stuff in Antarctica. Not just penguins and seals and whales, but global warming. Did you know that the retreat of ice in western Antarctica means that the collapse of the entire ice sheet is unstoppable now? Icebergs are calving at an incredible rate. That means that major chunks are breaking off. They melt from below the sea, and the cracks radiate up. Because of the massive melt of the ice, sea levels are going to rise by at least a meter all over the planet, maybe close to 5 meters in only a couple of hundreds of years. Millions of people will be displaced. No more beachfront property. Miami will be underwater people. Jeff says it's a huge problem. His specialty is phytoplankton and krill, which are tiny but actually crustaceans. Euphausia superba. They feed on algae and plankton. Krill are teeny tiny, but are a main food source for a bunch of species, even blue whales, if you can believe it. And the warmer water means the krill are migrating to different places, and that's endangering seals and penguins. It's already shrunk their habitats. They're migrating, and soon they'll run out of land. Did you know there are 21 species of penguins in Antarctica? Hey, speaking of penguins, did you know that fathers chew their food, then spit it into the baby penguins' mouths? Ian put a hand to his mouth and staggered for the bathroom yet again. Not only that, but there are scientists who are drilling down for hundreds of feet and discovering things about climate from about 800,000 years ago. It has so much to teach us. Can it teach us to stop the boat from moving? Ham asked, his eyes closed. Amy rose on her elbow, one hand holding a damp washcloth to her forehead. We're not here as tourists, Dan. We have to find out more about the ship. I know, I'm doing that too. Dr. Jeff told me all this stuff while we toured the ship. He knows a huge amount about it. The ship is way past state of the art. It's on to a whole new level of biotechnology. Dan, Amy pressed her fingers against her eyes. Have you located any suspects? Anything suspicious? Well, that's the sort of impossible because everyone is seasick, and my attempt to steal a keycard was a bust. We need more activity on the ship for cover, but here's the good news. We're through Drake Passage. Jeff said the sea will get way calmer once we cross this imaginary line. We're in Antarctica waters. That means you can get up and get to work. Ian staggered out of the bathroom. Has anyone heard from Kara? Still no reception, but Dr. Jeff says. Ian groaned from his position on the couch. Can you go away now? I'd lift my head, but I think I would rather die. See you, Dan said. Dan headed out the door and into the passageway. Maybe the ship was starting to stabilize already. He didn't feel as though he was walking on a bouncy castle quite as much. Dan rounded the corner. Ahead was the ship's office, who had checked them in on board. Doberman. If he recognized Dan, he'd remember that he'd only been cleared to visit Lloyd Truman's cabin. Dan immediately lurched to the side and turned his head, hoping Doberman would just pass by. No luck. "Can I help you, young man? Are you ill?" "Just a little bit," Dan mumbled. "I'm okay." "Let me help you to your cabin." "No, I feel okay, really." Doberman looked at him closer. "Are you with the high school group? They're all the way at the other end of the ship." "Right. I guess I got lost." Doberman continued to regard him. Dan could see the flare of suspicion in his eyes. He hadn't placed him yet, but any moment he would. "May I see your keycard, young man? I can direct you." "Sure." Dan patted his pockets. "Gosh, I thought I had it." "Passengers are requested to wear it, sir. It does come with a chain necklace." "Yeah, but it didn't match my outfit." "Do you have your ID on you?" No. Must be with my keycard." Doberman whipped out his tablet. "Why don't you tell me your name, and I can look you up on the manifest. Then we can issue you a new card." "I'm sure it's in my room." Desperately, Dan pretended to search his pants. Then, down the passageway, Dr. Jeff turned the corner and headed toward them. Dan froze. Dr. Jeff knew him as J.P. Jones, an imaginary person who was definitely not on the manifest. He was trapped. "Well, hello," Dr. Jeff said cheerfully. "You know this young man, Dr. Tagemeyer?" Dr. Jeff hesitated. Dan pleaded him with his eyes, but he didn't know what he was asking for. Dr. Jeff put his hand on Dan's shoulder. "Of course I do. This is my research assistant, Rollo Hardcastle. We were just heading to the lounge. He's going to help me fix my PowerPoint for tonight. Speaking of which, we'd better hurry." Surprise propelled Dan down the hall, out of earshot of Doberman. "Thanks for the save," Dan said. "But why? Why not?" Jeff asked him, his eyes twinkling. "It isn't every day I get to meet a legend. Dan Cahill, I presume."